In this lesson, we're going to have a look at particles over a pulley, and this really is just a minor extension on the objects in contact lesson and the horizontally connected particles lesson. So we'll get straight in with an example and just explain to you how to deal with these types of problem involving particles over a pulley. And here it is here. So two particles, P and Q, of mass 5 kilograms and 7 kilograms respectively, are attached to two ends of a light, inextensible string placed over a smooth pulley. The particles are released from rest. Draw a force diagram for each particle showing clearly all forces acting on the particles. So let's start with a diagram for particle P. Okay, so we've got particle P here, and its weight is 5g, mass times g, and holding it up is a tension. The string is pulling particle P upward. So that's particle P. Now for particle Q, again, the tension's holding particle Q up, and pulling particle Q down is its weight, 7g. So there are the two force diagrams, remembering that the string is essentially holding up particle P, and at the same time the string is also holding up particle Q. Right, part B now. State the significance of the string being light. Well, the string being light means that we don't have to consider its mass. So the textbook answer is there. Its mass is negligible, so it won't affect the weight of the system or its acceleration. Now we could argue that we should include the weight of the string in the whole system, but to do so would massively complicate the model. So if we know that the mass is so small that it really won't affect the acceleration, then I think it's fair enough in this case to make the assumption that the string is light. So B part 3, state the significance of the pulley being smooth. So in order to explain this one, it's probably better to make a rare appearance. So imagine holding a piece of string in two places, between your thumb and index finger, and tightening the piece of string in the middle there by pulling outwards. So what's happening here, my thumb and finger represent a rough pulley, and what I'm able to do when the pulley's rough is make the tension different in different parts of the string. So the tension in this part in the middle is really tight, however it's loose in the sides here. Therefore, for part 3, the significance of the pulley being smooth is that the tension is the same throughout the string. Okay, part C. Construct an equation of motion for each of the particles. Well, we can see from our diagram here that Q is the heavier one, so Q is going to be moving down, whereas P is going to be moving up because it's the lighter particle. So let's start with P. So if P is moving up, then I'm going to consider up to be the positive direction. So F, which is T minus 5g, the force resulting, equals mass times acceleration. And particle Q, this time Q is moving down, and this is important. I think this method works best when you consider the direction of motion of each particle to be the positive direction. So then we've got 7g minus t equals mass times acceleration. And there's part C done. There's both equations of motion. So part D, hence find the magnitude of the acceleration of the particles. So part D. So we learnt in the horizontally connected particles that if we consider the direction of motion to be positive in each case, then if we add the equations together, tension's eliminated. So let's add the left-hand sides of these equations together to get 7g minus 5g, which is 2g, and add the right-hand sides of the equation together to get 12a, which means that a equals 2g over 12 equals g over 6 meters per second squared. And if we want to round that, 9.8 divided by 6 is equal to 1.633. meters per second squared. So in all of this, it's the same method every time. F equals ma for each particle. Solve simultaneously, then you get your acceleration and you get your tension. Let's do another slightly more complicated example that brings SUVAT into play as well. So two particles, A and B, of mass 4 kilograms and 8 kilograms are both attached to opposite ends of a piece of light, inextensible string hanging over a smooth pulley. The particles are both released from rest at a height of 0.5 meters above a table. Assuming that A never reaches the pulley, find its maximum height above the table in this scenario. So what's going to happen here, as they're released, we can see that particle B is heavier, so particle B is going to be the one that hits the table. So by this point, particle B is there, and particle A will be about there. However, when B hits the table, particle A is going to have been moving up, and it'll still have some velocity. So as soon as B hits the ground, A will still be moving up, but by this point the string will loosen, meaning that A is no longer moving under the tension, it's in free fall. So A will be moving upwards for a little bit, reach its maximum height, then start coming back down again. So B hits the table as A is moving up. That velocity that A still got, it continues, but this time, freely under gravity, it'll reach its maximum height, then it'll start to fall again. And what we're going to do, we're going to try and work out the maximum height that A gets to. So phase 1, where the string is in tension, B's falling, A is rising. So let's do the equations of motion for each of the particles. So particle A, which is moving upwards, it's got its weight, which is 4 kilograms, 4g, and the tension pulling it up. So its equation of motion, with the positive direction being up, is T minus 4g equals mass times acceleration equals 4a. Particle B now has weight 8g and tension going up again, and because it's moving down, I'll consider down to be the positive direction, and that's 8g minus t equals mass times acceleration again. So there's our two equations of motion, and that's going to allow us to find out the acceleration of the system. So now if we add those together, we get 4g, because 8g take 4g is 4g, and equals 12a. So dividing both sides by 12, I get a equals, and 4/12 is a third, so g over 3 meters per second squared. Now that helps, because now we can do SUVAT to find the speed of A just as B hits the ground. So, doing that now. So, SUVAT, like that there. So we know that B has travelled 0.5 meters down. It's hitting the ground 0.5 meters below where it was. Its initial speed was 0 because it was released from rest. It says here they were released from rest, by the way. And we know the acceleration was g over 3, 9.8 over 3. And what we want is the final velocity, because that final velocity of B going downwards is going to be the same as the final velocity of A going upwards. So let's now work out what the final velocity is. So S, U, V and A, well, V squared equals U squared plus 2AS will do it. So V squared equals U squared plus 2AS equals 2 times 9.8 over 3 times 0.5, which is 49/15. And so that's the value of V squared. So that means that V is the root of that. The root of 49/15 equals, so let's put in the calculator, root of 49/15, which is equal to 7 root 15 over 15. 7 root 15 over 15 meters per second. So that's the end of phase 1, where the string's in tension. So what's actually happened here is that B has fallen to the ground, as per this arrow here. So B is now down here. It's just hit the ground with speed, we said 7 root 15 over 15. So V equals 7 root 15 over 15. And now A is up here and it's moving upwards with that speed. So B hit the ground, moving down at that speed. So at the start of this phase now, A must be moving upwards with that speed. So phase 2, string is loose. So we start off with A moving upwards with velocity, initial speed U equals, and it was 7 root 15 over 15. Now the acceleration is moving downwards now for A, because the string is loose. It's no longer, because this string is loose, it's no longer being pulled up by the string. It's actually now being pulled down by gravity. So downwards, it's going to have an acceleration of G, or 9.8 meters per second squared. And let's not forget the unit for velocity, meters per second. So we can do a SUVAT equation for that. S-U-V-A-T. So S, we know U upwards. If I put my upwards direction as positive, upwards, U is 7 root 15 over 15. When it reaches its maximum height, its velocity is 0, and its acceleration upward, because upward is positive, is minus 9.8, because actually we know that acceleration is downward. And what we're wanting to find here is displacement. So if we use V squared equals U squared plus 2AS, we get 0 squared equals, and we know from the previous part that V squared was 49 over 15, so V squared equals U squared, which is just that squared, plus 2AS, and then rearranging that, so 2 times minus 9.8, just to get some nice numbers, is minus 19.6. So I take that the other side, 19.6 S equals 49 fifteenths, which means that S equals, so 49 fifteenths divided by 19.6, which gives us 1/6 of a meter. So we're almost there. So the maximum height it reaches, so let's go back up to the question here. So A starts off 0.5 meters above the table, B goes down 0.5, pulling A up another 0.5. Then off its own steam, we saw that it moved another 1/6. Therefore, the maximum height is the 0.5 above the table it starts at, plus the 0.5 it travels up, plus the 1/6. So that's 1 1/6, so that's 7/6 of a meter. And there we have it. A problem where we have to consider something in 2 different phases, the phase where the string's tight and the phase where the string is loose. So have a go at all the questions on the worksheet, checking each answer as you go.